You can talk about how much you love someone, how much you care, but words are only part of the equation. It's what happens when the rubber meets the road that matters. When you need your partner to be there for support, to hold you at the end of a tough day, to stand by you when you're struggling, and be that one person you know that you can always count on. When your partner shows up and does what they promise, when they walk the walk, that's trust.
Are you married or in a committed relationship looking for real advice on having love and enriching your relationship? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Couples Expert with Stuart Fensterheim.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert, and I'm here to talk to you today about a very important topic, which is defining trust in your relationships. What does it really mean to have a trusting relationship with someone? Is that even possible? I'm going to discuss how to define trust in your love relationship and talk about the issues that come up at different times. Before I get into the topic, though, I just want to share how excited I am. I've been podcasting now for about 2 years, and there is a convention that meets every year, typically in August, called Podcast Movement. It's where all the experts from podcasting get together to teach each other about how to have the best podcasts out there. And one of my commitments over the last couple of years has been truly to have a podcast that is your go-to podcast for your love relationships. I created the Couples Expert Podcast out of a deep passion and wanting to create a movement. This movement is about changing the world and making it a better place, to changing one relationship at a time. When the shootings began back a few years ago, my dream was to turn our world into a place where people don't feel alienated. Because what I was beginning to truly understand is those who were doing the school shootings were really people who felt alone, felt alienated from their friends and family and from our world in general. And if we could change families, one relationship at a time, and the foundation of a family is the couple, and if they had a relationship that was truly connected and bonded, and where those people who lived with them and around them witnessed this, and they wanted that, then all of us would begin to establish a world that has connection as the primary force in the family and in our society. And this podcast is dedicated to making that kind of transition in this world, in today's society, with today's political environment, with all the things that are going on. If we could have relationships that have people feel really important to one another and feel like you're with that one person in the world that cares about you the most and that you know you'll never be alone, what could that do to our world? That's what this podcast truly is about. And one thing I can never do enough of is thank all of you, my listeners, who have been with me for the past couple of years on my journey, really trying to spread the word of love and connection. And you guys have been just so incredible, and your support has really allowed me to be the podcaster that I am today, someone that is courageous and really speaking up and making sure everyone understands how important love is. And it's been because of you that I've been able to do that. So I really, at the bottom of my heart, want to thank all of you. And what Podcast Movement can do for us is give me that forum to share about the podcast and what we've been able to create in such a brief period of time. And if I can do it, other people can do it. And they understand and can begin to share with their audiences that this podcast is out there to help you have a relationship that is not just good, not just special, but exceptional, safe and secure, and bring more people to this podcast. The quote that is apt for our subject today is from Chris Butler that says this: "Trust is earned when actions meet words." You can talk about how much you love someone, how much you care, but words are only part of the equation. It's what happens when the rubber meets the road that matters. When you need your partner to be there for support, to hold you at the end of a tough day, to stand by you when you're struggling, and be that one person you know that you can always count on. When your partner shows up and does what they promise, when they walk the walk, that's trust. When you commit to a relationship with someone, you need to be able to trust them. If you don't have a deep level of trust in your partner, you will not have a good time. The lack of trust carries with it a whole set of negative emotions, such as worry, suspicion, fear, anxiety. Trust isn't something that comes easy to everyone. It's really not a given, or just something that happens organically because you fall in love. It's not automatic. To all of us, especially if you've had a relationship injury and that you've had your trust broken in the past with your family or previous relationships. It may take some time and evidence of your partner's commitment to you before you're willing to go all in and trust them completely. You must be confident that your partner is trustworthy and that your loyalty is deserved. How does it happen? Where does that confidence come from? I want to share with you that the Couples Expert Podcast is available on iTunes. You can subscribe to the podcast and have access to all the back episodes and the Couples Expert. We have a lot of great programs with guest experts in all fields relating to love and relationship. Please leave a comment or review on iTunes for me. I respond to all of them, and I sure appreciate you taking the time to spend with me on this podcast. You're the reason I do this podcast. Now back to the topic. Trust is built by repeated actions that match our words and our intentions. The more times you do what you say you will, keep your promise and keep your commitments, each positive interaction and experience with your partner reinforces that you're trustworthy. You're someone that can be relied on and that your partner can be assured that you're there for them. When you're in a relationship, especially if your partner has children that are part of the commitment, you both need to show each other that you can be trusted. It can be so difficult at first, but I'm going to talk about some of the things you can do to build that trust. Keep your appointments. Be on time and show up when you say you will. Sure, things come up and it's not always possible, but if you flake out too many times on your date or in the relationship, you're not going to appear trustworthy. Stay in contact. If you're in a relationship, you're building trust together. You have to be in touch with each other. Check in with your partner. Let them know where you are at all times. When you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. Show them that your word is reliable. If the two of you talk about things, keep their secrets. When your partner tells you something in confidence, don't go sharing this with your friends or your brother or your parents. If you see this person for any length of time, don't tell them anything that has been shared with you. Your partner has to know that you're like a vault that they can put their secrets into. Testing your loved one is a huge mistake, and I see a lot of couples doing this. Game playing and creating drama is the easiest way to lose someone's trust. You have to be authentic, be yourself, and set your relationship up for success by showing how true and good you can be. When there's suspicion or drama in a relationship, it creates concern about the lack of maturity and wonder if this relationship could last. When you've had trust established in a relationship, one of the key elements is keeping it that way. You do that by being your partner's rock, their safe harbor, by being kind and non-judgmental. Your partner should be able to trust you with all of their deepest feelings and fears without hesitation, because what they'll know, and that you've proven it to them time and time again, that they can share anything with you, insecurities, doubts, even things that are not complimentary to them, and that you will not, above all, use them when you're triggered. You will not break the trust. You won't judge them. You'll do your best to understand, and above all, even if you're angry, you will never pull that information out and use it against them. That there are certain lines that won't be crossed. That really is how you define trust in a long-term relationship. You can talk about anything with each other. You can share even the ugly things and know that you're safe in doing that. You know that nothing is more important to your partner than their caring for you and protecting you and your feelings. The two of you do this for one another, never hurting each other, even if the relationship is struggling. One of the things I talked about in a video this week had to do with building a wall or a fence, because I was talking about the old-time Westerns, and that what they did is they built fences because they wanted to make sure that they could protect their cattle, because the cattle was valuable. Your partner is your biggest asset. Protect it like you do a diamond or anything else in your life. Don't let others get in the way. Be the protector. You keep trust in a relationship also by constantly renewing that trust. You continue to show your partner that you're trustworthy and their trust in you is not misplaced. You keep your promises, you keep your word, you're loyal and faithful to your partner in all aspects. You don't ever give the appearance of impropriety or give them any reason to doubt your sincerity. Remember, it's actions meeting the words that keep people together and know that you trust. Do what you say and say what you mean. Show each other that you're not that person, that you are the one person in the world above everyone else that has their back and their interests at heart. Trusting your partner implicitly and they trusting you takes your relationship to a much deeper and connected level. Know that you have this, that trust is there, that it's the foundation of your relationship that gives you the freedom to be vulnerable without fear of judgment and rejection. It really is a wonderful thing to have that level of trust between you and your partner. Once you experience this, you'll never want to lose it. And it's never, ever something to joke about. When you're building trust or rebuilding trust, you want to make sure that your partner understands that you take this incredibly seriously. See, trust is more than fidelity, and that's really what sometimes confuses people. They think when we're talking about trust in a relationship, what we're talking about is not cheating, not sleeping with other people, not betraying you by bad-mouthing you. But trust is also believing each other's words, that when I tell you I feel a certain way, that you believe it and know it. When I tell you I don't feel a certain way, you know you can count on that being true. So often we forget that who we marry, who we choose to spend our life with, is the person that helps us see ourselves. Our self-perception is impacted by the partner that we choose. And if we choose the right partner, we can have a relationship that has us feeling so good about ourselves. And if you choose someone that is not trustworthy, you also begin to have a perspective of yourself that is so critical that you feel locked away, alone, and alienated. That feeling brings up such panic for people, a primal panic that has you looking at yourselves and saying, who the heck am I? How did I go about and do that to someone I love? How could I say such mean things? What we forget is that we need to have a relationship with a partner where trust is there. And what we trust is that we truly are loved by the one person in the world that cares about us the most, that allows us to recognize that we'll never be alone. And if we don't have that trust, the feeling that we are alone, we will be alone, and will always be alone, keeps us locked up into this primal panic that does not allow us to feel strong as an individual, because that's what love can do, feel more courageous. And I know, for example, that I'm a better man, a better husband, a better couples counselor because of the security that I feel at home. And all of you can have that too. So I encourage you all to think about the things that we talked about today and make that commitment to yourself to establish a relationship in your life that's filled with trust. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being such an advocate of this podcast. I love all of you, and we'll see you all next time. Take care and stay connected. Bye-bye.